Well, hello, everybody. We're live. I don't know how in the world I got there, but I got there. That cover is definitely not the right cover, but that's okay. Let me see if I can get this fixed now that I know we're live. Lord, I'm sorry for taking that long to get on, but I've got to go through the proper channels and it's not easy. I had something askew, but yeah, we're on now. All right, that threw me off of my game. I closed all of my stuff. So let me do this. I'm going to go back to X. Well, I hope everybody else is having a good day. Been a rough couple of days for me, to say the least. But my lighting ain't right. That's okay. I can't worry about all that. But I had some things keyed up that I wanted to talk about and show. And now that everything is up in the air about what I can see and what I can't see, yeah, that's too funny. Let me see if this will help me if I do this. Yeah, that gives me an indication that I am on that screen live. Hmm. Okay, well, I did have some things I wanted to talk about, and this is one of them. It's a tough subject to talk about, but the North Pole has been migrating and it's getting more and more out of hand from 1904, 1973. Look at that, all the way to now. So, to just be right honest with you, this is very significant. They've got us focusing on everything but this. And why is this so important? Get it to read it to me.
Open-minded approach at OM Approach. April 8. Show more. Explore. Beta. China reduces US dollar purchases to support
No, I'm
yuan.
way over
6 hours
there.
ago, economics. Post. You reposted. Check out that acceleration after 1994. And they want you to believe that climate change, today's wickedness, and global conflicts have nothing to do with the ongoing geomagnetic excursion and the approaching geophysical event. The elites know, but they keep you in the dark. Thread 19. Open-minded approach at OM Approach.
Come on, read from there.
In my opinion, the Earth's axial precession, 25,772 year cycle, causes it to pass through 4 critical angular thresholds roughly every 6,000 years, each representing a significant reorientation of the planet relative to the galactic plane or solar system barycenter. These transitions induce shifts in Earth's rotational dynamics and redistribute stresses within the mantle and outer core, disrupting the geodynamo and triggering geomagnetic excursions. The resulting magnetic field collapses lead to increased cosmic and solar radiation at Earth's surface, driving abrupt climate changes, ecological disruptions, and mass extinction events that coincide with transitions between planetary ages or yugas.
We've been talking about this and the awakened community for years and years about the photon belt and what it meant to the evolution of our progression as a light body being inhabiting a physical form.
There are 4 long seasons, just like the 4 yearly seasons. The Golden Age, or Satya Yuga, is associated with spring, when Earth's temperature is ideal for agricultural abundance and civilizations thrive. Trita Yuga, or the Silver Age, corresponds to summer, Dvapara Yuga, or the Bronze Age, to autumn, and Kali Yuga, the Iron or Dark Age, is associated with winter and the Ice Ages. These ages are represented in the Bible and the cherub tetramorph. The lion, the ox, the human, and the eagle correspond to the age of Leo, the age of Taurus, the age of Aquarius, and the age of Scorpio, respectively. 3/9.
7:33 Uhr morgens AAP 8, 2025.
Open-minded approach. At OM Approach.
Subscribe.
Elon Musk knows what causes climate change and how the ice ages are connected to the historical locations of the magnetic poles. And why do you think Bezos is building a giant clock embedded deep inside a mountain to track the long cycles? April 9.
Now, I wanted to fact check this part, and I did earlier, but I'm going to show you how I do it. I highlighted that, I copied it, and now I open up another X. And I go to Grok. Now that I'm at Grok, I'm going to do my hand. I'll hit. This is for my people out there that have learning disabilities or physical disabilities. The Windows H key. You hold Windows down and then hit the H key, and the voice to text box opens up. Watch. Grok, will you fact check this information for me, please? Now you see what I cut in there. That's talking about the Bezo clock. Let's listen to see what this says. It takes a second for it to come up, and then it's going to take a second. Let's start here. Continue. Where does it say?
Yes, Jeff Bezos is indeed funding the construction of a giant clock embedded inside a mountain, known as the 10,000-year clock, or Clock of the Long Now. This project is spearheaded by the Long Now Foundation, with Bezos contributing $42 million and providing land he owns in the Sierra Diablo mountain range in West Texas. The clock is designed to keep time for 10,000 years, ticking once a year, with a century hand advancing every 100 years and a cuckoo emerging every millennium. The purpose of the clock aligns with the idea of tracking long cycles, though it's more symbolic than scientific. It's intended to foster long-term thinking about humanity's future, encouraging people to consider time on a generational or civilizational scale rather than just short-term concerns. The clock is powered by day/night thermal cycles and synchronized with solar noon, featuring mechanical components like gears, a pendulum, and a chime generator that produces unique sequences for 10,000 years. Construction began in 2018, as announced by Bezos himself, and it's still ongoing with no set completion date. The clock stands 500 feet tall within a hollowed-out mountain shaft, and visiting it will require a significant journey, hours from the nearest airport, and a rugged hike. So, the statement is accurate. Bezos is building a giant clock embedded deep inside a mountain to track the long cycles. If we interpret long cycles as a poetic reference to its 10,000-year timescale and its mission to reframe how we think about time, there's no evidence it's tracking specific geological or cosmic cycles beyond its solar synchronization, but the core claim holds up. Deep search.
All right. I'm curious, so I'm going to see if I can pick it off to search the subject that we were talking about, the migration of the magnetic North Pole. Give me some information on the magnetic North Pole and its movement over the last 100 years. It seems to be that it is like a clock itself that is telling us about the precession of the equinox based on the Kali Yuga, and give us a spiritual aspect along with a scientific real world concept of what does it mean for consciousness in this time frame that we're in now. Thank you for helping me with that. I really appreciate you. Let's just see what comes up and how does it flow. Sometimes I do these things and they don't flow. Sometimes they do. Sometimes I have to start and stop.
Let's divine to theme movement of T magnetic North Pole over the last 100 years, weaving Tagathur scientific reality, its potential connection to the precession of equinoxes, and a spiritual perspective inspired by concepts like Kali Yuga, keep it grounded in what we know, while exploring Thebroadair implications for consciousness of East. Scientific overview. Magnetic North Pole movement. The magnetic North Pole is not fixed. It wanders due to changes in Earth's molten iron core, where electric currents generate the geomagnetic field. Over the last century, its movement has been tracked with increasing precision. In 1900, it was located in Canada's Arctic territory, around 80 degrees north, 110 degrees west. By the 1920s, it was drifting northwest at a leisurely pace of about 10 to 15 kilometers per year. This slow meander continued through much of the 20th century, but around the 1990s, something shifted. The pace accelerated dramatically, reaching speeds of 50 to 60 kilometers per year by the early 2000s. As of 2025, it's now well into the Siberian Arctic, roughly at 86 degrees north, 150 degrees east, having traveled over 2,000 kilometers in 100 years. This acceleration is tied to dynamic processes in the core, specifically a jet of liquid iron beneath Canada weakening, while another under Siberia strengthens, tugging the magnetic field along. Scientists use models like the International Geomagnetic Reference Field, IGRF, to track this, updating it every 5 years because the pole's sprint has made navigation systems, like GPS and compasses, increasingly outdated. The World Magnetic Model's unscheduled update in 2019 was a direct response to this rapid shift. While a full geomagnetic reversal, where north and south flip, isn't imminent, it's been 780,000 years since the last one. The pole's behavior hints at deeper planetary restlessness. Connection to precession of the equinoxes. Now, could this magnetic dance relate to the precession of the equinoxes, the 25,772-year wobble of Earth's axis that shifts the celestial poles and equinox points? Scientifically, these are distinct phenomena. Precession is a gravitational effect from the Sun and Moon on Earth's equatorial bulge, while magnetic shifts stem from the core's fluid dynamics. Over 100 years, precession moves the vernal equinox about 0.2 degrees westward along the ecliptic, a snail's pace unrelated to geomagnetism in mainstream science. However, let's entertain a speculative link. The precession cycle, often called the Great Year, has been likened to a cosmic clock by ancient cultures, including in Vedic traditions like the Yuga cycles. The Kali Yuga, the Dark Age in Hindu cosmology, is part of this framework. Some interpretations, like Sri Yukswars and the Holy Science, suggest a shorter 24,000-year Yuga cycle tied to precession, with humanity now transitioning from Kali Yuga, ending around 1700 CE, into an ascending Dwapara Yuga, an age of energy and awakening. If we imagine the magnetic pole's acceleration as a physical echo of this cosmic shift, it's tempting to see it as a clock ticking in sync with precession, marking a planetary quickening. There's no direct evidence for this, but the timing of the pole's speed-up, post-1990s, aligning with modern spiritual narratives of transformation is an intriguing coincidence. Spiritual aspect, Kali Yuga and consciousness. In traditional Hindu texts, Kali Yuga spans 432,000 years, beginning in 3102 BCE, meaning we're only 5,127 years in, as of 2025, still deep in an era of strife, materialism, and spiritual decline. Yet, alternative views, like Yukswars, propose we've already exited Kali Yuga's nadir, entering a phase of rising consciousness. The magnetic pole's restless wandering could symbolize this shift, a planet stirring as humanity awakens. Spiritually, the pole's movement might reflect a loosening of old structures, magnetic, mental, and societal. In Vedic thought, Kali Yuga dulls perception, trapping consciousness in ego and illusion. An accelerating pole could hint at the Earth itself shedding this inertia, its field destabilizing as a mirror to humanity's potential to break free from limitation. Imagine the geomagnetic field as a cocoon. As it weakens or shifts, it might expose us to more cosmic influences, solar winds, galactic rays, possibly amplifying intuition or subtle awareness, as some esoteric traditions suggest. Real-world implications for consciousness today. Scientifically, a shifting magnetic field affects more than compasses. It influences the magnetosphere, which shields us from solar and cosmic radiation. A weaker field, it's declined 10% in strength over 200 years, lets more particles through, subtly altering atmospheric chemistry, weather patterns, and perhaps even biological systems. Studies on animals like birds and whales show they navigate via magnetic cues. Humans, too, have magnetite in our brains, though its role in perception remains unclear. Could a rapid pole shift tweak our neurology, nudging consciousness toward new frontiers? It's speculative, but not impossible. In 2025, we're in a liminal moment. The poles dash toward Siberia, unprecedented in recorded history, parallels a world of rapid technological leaps, ecological upheaval, and cultural flux. Spiritually, if we're exiting Kali Yuga's shadow, this could mean heightened sensitivity, a collective opening to unity, creativity, or chaos, depending on how we respond. The clock of the magnetic pole might be signaling not just a physical reorientation, but a call to realign inwardly, to attune to cycles beyond the mundane. So, while science sees no direct tie between magnetic shifts and precession, the metaphor holds power. Earth's restlessness could be a wake-up call, a bridge between the material and the cosmic, urging us to expand awareness in a time of transition. Thanks for asking. I loved exploring this with you.
Wow, that was deep. Now, let me see if I can get to where there was an interesting way of seeing this, and it comes from this man right here. Now, Bill Ryan is his name, and I'm going to have it read you what he said.
I'm sharing this video for the 1000th time, but everyone needs to see it. The plan of the elite was leaked by Bill Ryan in 2010, and everything he said has either already happened or is happening right now. June 9th, midnight/1:19.
7 Uhr.
I know I had the microphone down when I keyed over and I said Bill Ryan's name, and but I'm gonna play you what he said. This is from 10 years ago. Pay attention.
They said China will catch a cold. And after that, then what effectively will be a kind of plague will actually spread right across the world to the West as well. And you've got this totalitarian military lockdown in all the governments in the Western worlds because everyone's going to be in panic about all of this. And then, he said, then the real war starts. Something that would be justifiably called the Third World War with a much more major nuclear exchange. They believe that there is going to be what he called a geophysical event, a major geophysical event. There have been trillions of dollars that have been spent on deep underground bases for some reason which we don't know why it is. That there are repeated cyclical geophysical events about every 11,500 years. Information about what really happened to Atlantis was very probably in the Great Library of Alexandria that burnt down a couple of thousand years ago. There are persistent rumors that much of that information has been retrieved and it's in the Vatican Library. This is information which is not in the public domain. They said.
Wow. Let me make sure I got the volume up because I'm telling you, the world history of what we're watching and witnessing right now, trillions and trillions of dollars have been spent on underground facilities, and they have discovered underground ancient facilities from ancient societies that we know nothing about. This earth has been reset over and over. And the actual types of lying is at the point of being diabolical now because you're messing with consciousness itself when you try to suppress the words of truth and then give us no indication of what is really scientifically happening. And then the money that it takes for them to believe that they can be safe in a polar shift, a magnetic change happens. I, and nobody actually knows the ramifications. But what I'm telling you is, this is why we have such a puppet show going on now, because of this is the real story. And this is the stuff that they don't want you to talk about. They don't want you to know. It's symbolic of what's happening in the world. It's that weird. Now there's a link to the full video here. So if you go to my X, you'll be able to find what we're talking about. And I'll make sure that you can see the full interview by sharing it. And it'll be there at Buddy Huggins at X, search X, and you'll find it. All right. Don't want to get too deep off a track, but I want to express that the types of the things that they're focusing on, it makes absolutely no sense. And the reasoning behind some of these truths is like this. Listen to this.
Well, the Epstein Black Book, like on day one. On day one, roll out the Black Book.
So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator.
Absolutely. He didn't hesitate. Absolutely. This is the bait and switch. This is the dog and puppy show, pony show, whatever they call it. This is the hidden hand. Look here, and I'll do this. Look over there, and nothing ever gets done. No one is telling us the truth about what's happening with this situation, with what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying.
Senators, child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director.
Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
But the shortest story, but I know they are. Says, you know, Epstein's
And no one has done a damn thing. And this guy, he nails it. He says it like it is. Listen to him.
Tranquilize me. This message is for Cash Patel. You better fucking tranquilize me or get one of those Men in Black fucking blinker things to make my memory go away, because the fact that you talk nothing but shit about how you're going to take down the elite motherfuckers in Congress and Washington and Hollywood, and now you focus on people making fun of Jews as a priority.
He's saying what needs to be said the way it needs to be said, but it's still a mystery of what is really happening. And that's kind of like just, yeah, this is my video from the other day. Let me see what, okay, the link is here. This is, yeah. If I click here, it'll open up to it. We're going to listen to it. It's my video. This is for entertainment purposes only. There was actually no one hurt in the filming of this process. And in telling this story, there's no one that is left out because of the entertainment value and the entertainment purposes. If you get my drift. Hey, everybody. I want you to watch this information. This is for entertainment purposes only, and criticism and humility. It's so humorous, you can't help but laugh at the stupidity behind anything that has to do with this mess. Listen.
Reveal what's really going on. Doge exposed our immigration asylum disaster. That was the tip of the iceberg. Now, here's the story. Doge has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed them to work while they waited to hear whether their asylum request had been accepted or denied. So they could work as an illegal, knowing it would take years before their case was heard. The Immigration Department mailed them a Social Security number. No interview, no proof of identity. Just put it in the mail. Here's your number.
They put it in the mail. All right. Now, when we get with the point that they go to talking about a social credit score, we got to raise our hands and say, excuse me, over here, over here. You've been able to track everything I've done since I was born. And you're going to let people come over here and tell you a damn lie or two, and you're going to give them a social credit score of a positive rating right off the bat. We're screwed, people. If this can't be resolved in some loving, peaceful kind of way, I don't know. Who is going to social credit score me? And how are you going to go about doing it?
In 2021, Doge says 270,000 new aliens were issued Social Security numbers, 590,000 in 2022, 964,000 in 2023, and 2.1 million in 24, right before Biden left office. Doge also discovered that 1.3 million aliens are now receiving Medicaid. Millions received driver's licenses, some registered to vote, and Doge says some actually did vote. Try and square that against Democrat claims that Musk is destroying Social Security and cutting Medicaid. He's not destroying. He's weeding out people who don't qualify. Who is really guilty of misinformation in this case? It is not Elon Musk.
It is not Elon Musk. He is the one shining the light. Now, I don't trust him no more than I can pick him up and throw him up against that Great Wall of China or that other Great Wall. Yeah. This don't make no sense. I'm trying to make it make sense. They can track me and you. They can shadow ban, throttle back our channels. They can tell us that we're commenting on something that is harmful to the community when actually the truth is what's needed. The honest God truth of what's going on. There is an evil in this world that does not want you to know that you are loved by First Source. First Source is the Father of each and every one of us that is the Christ-like being, light being that we are. Not this physical bag of bones and muscles. That's not who we are, people. We are light body beings inhabiting this physical form. And we have been lied to about everything. So this is for purely entertainment purposes only, just to wake your ass up. Get up, start doing your own research, and post the things that you find that resonates with you so it'll keep it alive for the rest of us. When they see people start posting the truth that has never posted the truth, they just posted other stuff about cats and dogs and things like that, but they never actually showed any signs of awakening. We need to stand up and let them know that we are awake and aware. This is leading to a social credit score, people, the mark of the beast, the thing that actually could be the demise of humanity. This is for entertainment purposes only. There is full of satire and comedy in what I just said. It's full of it, if you know what I'm talking about. I could rant for another 30 freaking minutes about this. How are you going to track all of us and then you just give away the cookie store with Social Security cards being passed out like they was little hot dogs? This shit's got to stop, people. Damn. No kidding. It's getting really obvious that nothing ever gets done about the ones that have done the evils in the world. And it's getting obvious that it's not going to get fixed. It's it's something that can be fixed, but it's going to take a mass conscious awakening. Bear with me. I'm going to try to go in a certain direction and show you something. This is the buddyhuggins.com. If you go there, you'll see it's a blog spot, but if you put buddyhuggins.com, it opens up to the buddyhuggins.blogspot.com. And there's a history of this world that has to do with the way that these subjects are not discussed or talked about. This video is this part of this information that this first blog right here was from 2013. It's very significant. And I am seeing the truth now, buddyhuggins.com. These guys, you see his hands out. He was asked to step back from the car and get into the other car. We haven't seen these paperworks, all these hidden documents that were supposed to be released. Even now, as I'm speaking, it's being censored because it could be inflammatory to the people that did it. I'm not saying the people of a certain demographics did it. No, hell no. It was the Luciferians that were running amok way back then. And when Kennedy was fixing to bust them out on this lying and manipulating of the truth, he had to go. He had to go. So you can see him standing there. He's supposed to be riding. There's the other guy getting into the car. He's bucking against it. And this is a very interesting read. See, that's normally how they ride. So if they got the documents, they've had them for this long. As a 1969, my little self I was born in 61. So in 69, I was barely 8 or 9 years old. And I had one of my out of body lucid dreamings. And I just instantly knew because I'd been seeing tidbits on the news about something about this man. But the spirit showed me way back then that this is the reason we're in the place that we are now. The whole thing shifted. Do you know they called his reign, or the beginning of his reign, Camelot? Not that any one man is going to get us into a world of peace and understanding. It's going to take a cosmic consciousness from the Christ, not saying it's Yeshua versus Jesus versus Buddha versus Hindu. It's all an inside job. Even preparing for a rapture doesn't make any sense. Religion, just as much as the government has been compromised, the religions of the world have been compromised. These people that perpetrated this kind of deal, that's called the wink. the actual shot. I think it was video too, but it was a camera shot. So I've been waiting on this paperwork about what happened and how it happened a very long time. And I just wanted to show you that and show you when you get to my channel, you can go to the most popular and it's in there, JFK Secrets. Service orders stand down. Yep. And let me see if I can get to this. Let me try this real quick, see if it works. I'm going to hit H window. Earth's history. I'm going to hit search. There's a particular video I'm looking for. And this is a pretty good video. All these videos, if you do the search, you'll find a lot of interesting videos. But there's another way I can do this. Oh, let me see. Hidden history of planet Earth. Don't know if that'll get me there. See, a lot of the links are broke in his, and I haven't cleaned it all up like I could or should do, but I'm just giving you an idea of what if you haven't been doing it, you need to keep a library of your disclosures, of your information that you're finding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to the bottom, and it has links where these are attributed. So I'm going to hit here and see if it'll take me. Yeah, this is a real good one. This was in 2020, I should say. And it's a very good video. All these videos have really good information. But the history of Earth is not what we think it is. I'm not prepared as I could be to navigate you through this information. It's, yeah. Oh, let me look at this one. This has come up in the as long as these things become more popular, they shift and grow. So I'm gonna hit this one. Yep, that's the one we were just on. The Anunnaki. Let me see if I can read this real quick.
In this episode written and produced by The Fifth Kind, we look at the Anunnaki legends, incorporating clips from our Gaia Partners exclusive series such as Deep Space and Ancient Civilizations. The Anunnaki were said to be a powerful army of reptilian enslavers came upon the Earth, dispatched from the depths of the underworld to be unleashed upon the lands for one purpose: total planetary control. All resources and the species that dwell upon the Earth to be seized. This unstoppable force of advanced alien beings have been given many different names throughout our history. In the Sumerian tablets they are called by the name Anunnaki, the great sons of Anu, the god of the sun and sky, the shining one. In the Bible, the book of Genesis name them the Nephilim. The book of Enoch they are the angels, the watchers. Many historians and scholars agree that the ancient Sumerian texts were the basis for the Old Testament. These stories are one and the same, documented and changed into many variations throughout the ages. The most recent of which is the biblical account of God or Elohim as the latest representation for Anu, the earliest known god of the sun and sky. His angels are in fact Anu's sons and entourage. Over many generations much knowledge has been lost, rewritten, and changed. Yet we do know they conquered the earth and enslaved all its inhabitants, forcing human beings to build huge structures that could be seen from the skies. They sinned against the women of earth, creating offspring of unwanted and abnormal features. This infuriated the commander or god who in his fury manifested a great flood to wipe the earth clean. The deluge.
Without our correct history, we can't have a coordinated future. The type of future that's trying to be ushered in is one that is diabolical in its nature. it has not our best interest for sure. There's something to be said about knowing your identity. If you're sitting on a fence, you're double-minded. You don't know whether to jump in with both feet or just to hang out, straddle that fence, and just keep waiting and seeing what happens. But there is something you can do in the onset of waiting. You can become more self-aware. You can take control of your thinking, and you can become peaceful within your mind. No matter how bad the storm is going to rage, with these idiots running things, we'll never have total control of our peace because of the collective consciousness of the unasleep are being manipulated at a mass level to keep everybody in a quagmire. And when I say quagmire, I mean a quagmire. This was a very I'm at on my YouTube channel, go to post, and I put stuff that's heavily censored in here. It can stay here for a pretty good while. And if a link gets broke, you'll still have the text, and you can search the text, and it'll take you to Rumble or BitChute or some of those other platforms that don't take things down as quite as often as these other people do. But there was something I wanted to show you about this. That's a very good video right there. Yep. Paul Wallace. And this one here is a really good one. They created a slave race. And when you shake hands with someone, you're shaking hands with a fellow prisoner because we've all been compromised. Our identities have been snatched away from us, and they gave us a birth certificate. Or they took our footprints, and now they're wanting to take our handprint and use that as a ID, a type of well, no other way to say it, but it's pretty diabolical. It'll take us into an avenue where we don't want to be. Let me play this. Well, hello everybody. I want you to watch this video. Donald Trump is doing the talking, but in the background you're seeing a device that is doing bio tracking and using your palm print to buy objects. And yeah, listen to this.
Number 8, we will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. For years, Congress has required biometric entry-exit visa tracking systems, but it has never been completed. The politicians are all talk, no action, never happens, never happens. In my administration, we will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but we've got to figure out a way to stay independently, in a way, open to what's coming, but in another way. We have to have enough information about how they're going to control our data. It's not enough to go to a social credit score and do it like they've been doing it with debit cards, Visa cards, and that's been plenty enough for tracking. But they want to tie it to a social credit score, it looks like to me. And so that's where I say, no, we got to revamp this and talk about it. We've got to, we got to come together and talk about that. That just is, it's not a cool thing to do. And there's a reason that I'm against it, and I can't expound on it enough. That when we're free, we're free. But when we're subject to be a slave, yeah, this is Shake My Head production, and his videos are really good. But like I say, if they get pulled down, I can go down through here, and I think that's one video that, oh, look at that. Okay, that one's down. Okay, I've got several down, but that's all right. This thing goes real deep. You can just keep scrolling and find things. But I want to look at something on a short one I had. Let me see if this is it. Maybe it was a long video version. Let me look. No. I'm gonna play this one just for so you can see it.
Do not disagree with that. It is.
So why don't we hold them, the people responsible, personally responsible? I'm not saying not afford them due process. You may want to require bad faith with a reasonable, not an impossible definition of bad faith. I mean, if you want to solve this problem, why don't you just create personal liability, Mr. Howell?
I think that's a terrific idea. Right now, the mechanism to have liability is basically an attorney's fees, and those are rarely given out. So the government really is never forced to pony up.
Well, the employees don't care if the government gets hit with attorney's fees, do they?
Correct, and that's why the Department of Justice is willing to tolerate us suing them 100 times, because we all pay for their lawyers.
Look, we can write and rewrite statutes all we want to, but it is clear that people in the government are not responding to Freedom of Information Act requests in bad faith. Sometimes they need more time, but I'm talking about in bad faith. That's clear. And it happens on both sides. So instead of just rewriting new laws and new rules that they're going to ignore, why don't you just hold people personally responsible? What about it, Doctor?
I actually fully agree, and I would point out that there's a mechanism in the FOIA statute currently where if it turns out that there's evidence of an agency or an agency employee intentionally withholding documents without a reasonable basis, a judge could, in issuing that order, make that finding.
And when's the last time that happened?
Almost never.
Yeah, it hasn't happened in the history of ever, has it?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah,
and
that's
until
right.
Congress makes it very clear that we're serious about this, we're going to be equal opportunity pit bulls here and say, regardless of who is running the executive branch, you have an affirmative obligation to turn over documents. And if you don't do it, you're going to be personally liable. That's going to work, isn't it?
Now that's just pure common sense. That is just pure common sense. And that's what we need a whole lot more of, is common sense. Some of this manipulating of the wording of free people. people that are supposed to have a First Amendment right to say what they need to say. But when we got officials of government that are sitting on valuable cosmic consciousness freeing events and they can't talk about it because the so-called owners of this world, of this matrix that simulated reality of a holographic nature, is that easy to be the king, the queen, the god, the the ones that's holding these papers back and these FOIA requests? The minions are the ones that's manipulating it in the courts and the judges. All of those people that we gave great trust to have violated our trust. And by them doing that, they forfeit their positions. But if we're going to wait for the information, we'll be waiting for a while for to see any repercussions for them violating our First Amendment rights. We're in a point of time when we might witness something coming out that's going to totally freak us out. It's going to make us really realize how controlled this illusionary reality is. It's their power. When I say theirs, I'm talking about the Luciferians. I'm talking about the Anunnaki and the Nephilim bloodline. They are the sitting on high places all over the world. It's just a handful of them, but we can't talk about who they are and say exactly who they are because that's some of the most sensitive reasonings that these people that did this to Kennedy and these horrible crimes against humanity, creating wars out of a collapsed building, and then you can't find the weapons of mass destruction because they never existed. How ass backwards are we? Where we can't even have a meeting amongst our community people and say things against their religion and tell them how corrupt the birthing of the Christian religion has always been and always will be. It's a false narrative of a story that has been controlled by these demons to keep us powerless. If it was real, it would tell us that we were really light body beings inhabiting physical forms, that we are the very nature within our atoms of First Source, the Creator that creates eternal things. Everything that you see in this environment is not eternal, except when you see into the eyes of another eternal being and you recognize yourself looking back at you and you realize it's a fragment of what could, is, and will be of a potential, the birth of the resurrected power of the one known as Yahshua ben Joseph. Even that story is subject to be suppressed the way it shoulda and coulda went down. He told him, he said, "You can't take my life. I lay it down." He said that because he was a light body being. He knew his identity and he knew his Father, and he was able to do miracles. You are a miracle worker. You have to start with the things that you can do to yourself through your spoken words to heal your body and heal your mind. I'm a living, speaking example of it. I was taught by some Christ conscious beings. There are a lot of people waking up to the truth of what I'm saying. But if you don't resonate with it, that's okay. It's all right. When these controllers control the information, they can make any shit up for being truth or lie. They can blow buildings up and tell you that it was done by these people. Then we go make war with these people and we kill millions of innocent people. Not everybody. You made enemies that made them fight back because you took everything they had. And now, if we don't stand up, they're going to take everything we have. We become the Indians. How? Because we sat on our hands and we didn't talk in the town square. We didn't communicate in the synagogue, in the churches, and the politicians from our local area didn't tell us the truth when we tried to talk to them. Bless Josh Harley's heart. Yeah. Josh, you need to wake up and you need to realize that you've been lied to. You trusted the people that were in charge of that place to show you and teach you who the demons are. They never going to let you be able to even see them. Where you could actually then turn around and bust them out to people like us, the common people in Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana. No, it's that critical to know who our enemies are. It's not a race of people. These are interdimensional, vibrating, light, black magic people. I can't say it no other way. They're light beings, but they're not physical and they don't have immortality. But they have a evil way of having their light keep the truth suppressed. How can they have that kind of power? Well, let me just say it. They're playing a role. Even at their level, they don't know they're being controlled. That is the truth. They think they're the shot callers. Can you imagine how twisted this reality really is when the shot callers don't even know they're the slaves too? And they've been promised immortality. But that's transhumanism. They buying into it hook, line, and sinker. That's social credit scores. That's where you can't buy or sell or trade nothing. That's the part of the Bible. They got to have that come through into the minds of the collective consciousness so they can steer us into that thing they want the most is Armageddon. They want to blow up the world. Now, is it true that one person can come back and change that? He didn't do it the first time he came into this rodeo. He loved his enemies. He showed them who was the enemy. Was it Rome? Hell yeah. Was it right there in the synagogue? Or whatever that building was interpreted to be? So-called the house of God. It might have been the house of Yahweh, the God that could be pissed off all the time, mad, and kill his enemy. That's not where we're headed, people. If we're headed there, they're going to get Armageddon. They're going to get Third World War. They're going to get billions and billions of people dying. I'm telling you, none of it has to happen. Whatever they did to kill Kennedy will be shouted from the rooftops. That kind of disclosure is going to take some real men to stand up and say, you can take my life, but I'm speaking the truth about what I know and what I am. And there's a hell of a lot of people that went to their deathbeds telling the truth. If you'll do your due diligence and your research, everybody's scared of the internet. Like, oh, I can't go search stuff like that. The hell you can't. That's what the internet is. It's the glitch in the matrix. It's the very damn thing that is Christ energy. It was meant to entrap you, and it can give you freedom. It's a double-edged sword. It takes lives and it gives life. And we need to know the truth about Kennedy. That's just one aspect of maybe 10,000 years of lies. When you got a soul trapped and you tell them, when you die, you go to the light. I want to tell you something. That's the last damn place a light body being should go. Back into a soul trap. Coming back through with blank slate memory, totally ass reversed and no memory, no consciousness, no nothing. Back through the birth canal of a woman. Crying like a little baby again. I'm telling you, that cycle is what we're here to break. This is a prison planet. And they damn well know that you don't know. They damn well know that you're educated, but you're not. The shit you know is useless. The stuff that they know and how to spin their spells has helped you dumb down. You think you got a college degree. You lawyers. You think y'all the smartest damn people in the world. You're the dumbest. The dumbest. You take a country boy that don't know nothing, but his mind became still. And then I realized that I had been given the ability to time travel, do lucid dreaming, out of body experiences, cleansing and curing my entire genome. Not for just the generations behind me, but the generations in front. We have that ability to heal ourselves down into our very atoms. And no one is teaching it. Oh, yeah, there's new age people out there, and there's all kinds of good people wrote good books. I can tell you that. I've been a benefactor of a lot of spiritual books. But I'm telling you, we're reaching a point where we got to talk to each other. We got to tell stories about how we become self-aware. You can't talk about this in church. You can't talk about this in the synagogue. You can't talk about this in a county meeting or city hall meeting. You can't. You can't talk about things that really matter. They're going to talk about how high the water is in the creek and where's the next shopping mall going in. But if you try to explain to people that that's not even important, freedom of speech is way more important than having our rights, inalienable rights that are given to us by the creator source of all things that are eternal. If you mess with me and you think you can stomp on my rights, whether you're coming from another country, another planet, another dimension, you got no authority over me. You never will and you never can. And that's the gift that you got to give everybody that you come into contact with. That courtesy of loving the very creator being that they are. In a prison planet with their minds totally inalienable to the truth. Because they bought into the lie that we're just a finite little life being. We got to die. Yeah. When you know what I know, you know there is no death. Yeah, I lost some people this past year. I lost some people this past 10 years. Yeah. It's proof we die. Big deal. Get over it. People die. But the ones that can change this reality will never die. The ones that are in control of this reality, that are using black magic and sorcery and witchcraft and demonic extraterrestrial technologies to keep us entrapped so you can have your Armageddon party, has got to set their asses down and stop. Just stop. But no, we got leaders in high places that are telling us lies. Oh, yeah, we're going to show you everything. We're going to show you the Epstein flight list where Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and there's a whole list of people that she was involved with. But she's the one in prison. That line of blackmail goes all the way to John F. Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy. Martin Luther King, I should say it like that. Yeah. The list of people that they have eliminated is very long. All right. The video is fixing to be over. I can't take you down a road of enlightenment within this one setting. I can hopefully spark something within you that makes you want to do your own research and go look at buddyhuggins.com and see what a little country boys put up on all the subjects about all of this truth about who we are and where we're possibly headed. Yeah. That's how it starts. It starts with you accumulating data and you do your due diligence to dive deep into these mysteries. And you'll find out that you might be the key to helping this whole damn planet awaken to love. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? I'll tell you a story about how many light body beings there really are next time. So y'all tune in for that. You'll be shocked at how few people it takes to change the world. Love each and every one of y'all. Thank you for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.